Oh, you must be David and Pilar.
Oh, who was? Hello.
This is Wendy speaking.
Who's that?
Wendy?
Hi, Wendy. How are you?
Oh, nice to put a face to the voice. How are
Yeah,
you?
no, it's nice to know who I've been writing to all these weeks. So I think I explained to you that we have some other business first, and then we're going to introduce you to all the members and go from there. So, and we won't be able to vote on your application this time, but we will next month. It was just, we have to have a public notice put in the newspapers before we can do
Okay.
that. But it'll be nice to welcome you into the town.
Hey,
So,
do you think maybe you and I could have an opportunity to go over it a little bit and see if you?
well, I think that's what we're going to do with the
like
whole
that?
committee. I'll
Uh-huh.
introduce you to everybody. This is Charles Haver coming up on the screen now.
Hi, nice
Hi,
to
Charles.
meet you.
Hi, Charles.
Charles, this is your neighbor. They live at 20 Church Street.
Oh,
Charles lives on the corner of 67 and Church Street
Oh,
in the brownish. What color would you call your house, Charles?
grayish, brownish, yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
And he has
Well,
the antique shop around the corner.
Right.
oh, yeah. Yeah. Beautiful house.
Thanks.
Right. So,
Good job.
and he also took his house from a state of disrepair and turned it into that gorgeous thing that it is now.
Yeah.
And you can tell because 6 years later, his fingers are still down to nubs, right, Charles?
Still paint under the fingernails.
Right, right. Exactly.
Anyway,
Here comes
and this is Jack Huber. Welcome, Jack.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
And this is Georgette Miller. I'm introducing you to the Hymans, Pilar and David.
Nice to meet you.
I'll introduce everybody as soon as they come on, but in the meantime, now Georgette is another one of your neighbors. She lives on the same side of the street as you, but she lives right next to the Hajj Library.
So
Oh.
the last house before the monument.
Yes,
Right.
The dark house.
yes, the dark
That's
house.
me.
And then when you go around the corner and over the bridge and past the Carters and the tennis courts, Jack lives in that house with right there. So Jack Huber, another neighbor. Right now you have all the members that are in the historic district. So. But we do have other members that don't live in fact, we have a quorum. We can't let anybody else in the historic district but it's funny because the people that like to live in the historic district also are most knowledgeable about historic homes. So
You've got to want it.
yeah, you gotta want it, exactly. Okay, so we have, oh, here comes Liz. Hi, Liz. Oh, she can't hear us yet. Yay. And Antone, yes.
Hi.
We have
Hi,
some
good
guests
evening, everybody.
tonight with our meeting, so I'll introduce everyone later, but maybe we could start the meeting now. How's that?
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Okay, so do you want me to say
President
attendee?
Walker, Miller, Huber, Haver, Anton Lacy, absent Raymond, and
Kurt.
Kurt, yeah,
Kurt
Kurt
Yovan.
Yovan.
And we have guest Pilar, Pilar, and David Hyman, Hyman. They are the new owners of 20 Church Street, the Shelton B. Smith House.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet all of you.
Okay, so we're going to start with the call to order. And the first thing on the agenda is let's see, what time is it? 7:33.
Yep.
And is to accept the minutes of the January 20th meeting. Someone make a motion?
Motion to accept?
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 A different wrinkle in this meeting is it's now being recorded because they switched the Zoom meeting over to the town of Roxbury. So your replies have to be audible.
Okay.
Okay,
And Wendy,
yes,
there was an article in the paper yesterday about working from home and that anything you say on Zoom can be, heard anywhere else. So you're just supposed to, not that any of our comments afterwards would be so bad, but when we talk about it, is, as you say, recorded.
right. Okay, so we're going to go on to, we have a public hearing tonight for the Hajj Library, which is really the town of Roxbury. Well, I'll wait till Charles gets his oh, well, it's really the town of Roxbury, but they're doing, they have a plan from some architects here. I'm going to try this new fancy thing for us and see if I can share the screen with my. Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Whew,
Beautiful.
I'm feeling good.
Looking good.
Okay, so this is their application. Charles, you want to read it? You usually do.
Okay.
I guess we could all read it ourselves, but
Yeah, do we have to read it out loud? Well, I guess for the record.
yes, for the record.
Okay. So the address of the proposed work is 4 North Street, the Hajj Memorial Library. The applicant is the town of Roxbury. The agent is Michael Glynn Architects and Stone Architecture. And did they provide something that says what it is?
Yes, I'll go to the next screen. Da-da-da-dun. Oh, is that the same one?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, maybe
Way to
this
go.
isn't going to be so simple.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, it is the piece of paper that you sent to everyone, Georgette.
Yes.
Do you
It's
have it
what's-
handy?
Yeah, do you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
In 2019, the Roxbury Public Library was awarded a grant from the State Historic Preservation Office to conduct a historic assessment of the Hajj Memorial Library. We hired 2 architects and based on their assessment, have been working to make various repairs to the building. One of the major improvements recommended by the architects was to preserve the building's windows. The windows date to the original construction of the building. They are of superior quality. If cared for properly, they will last indefinitely. Their recommendation is to remove the existing broken exterior storm windows and have them replaced with interior storm windows, as well as remove, repair, and repaint the original windows and shutters in a shop setting. The repairs would be made to all of the Hodges windows. Storm windows will be single panel snap-in units, except for storm windows at the larger first floor windows, which will be operable track units with insect screening. All storm windows will be interior.
Okay, so that is the application. Are there any questions? Any comments?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm jealous. This is the third time I've heard about interior storms since COVID. I mean, I never even heard of them when I bought exterior storms. So,
Does anybody want to comment on the design guidelines for the record?
Well, I think it definitely fits with the design guidelines in that they are preserving the original windows. So that's definitely a plus. And
And
they're-
also from my own experience, when you take off the storm windows, the putty around the panes lasts so much longer.
'cause it
Because the
doesn't
storm
dry
windows
out.
kind of like heat it up and crack it.
Mhm.
So since I've had the storm windows, which I took off in the middle 80s, I've only puttied them once, and that was last year.
Mhm.
Okay, so any other comments?
What's how many windows and what's their schedule for restoration of the windows?
I haven't all that information, but I'll try to see if I can get to it.
Curious. I
Okay.
mean, one thing that's good to track is hopefully that preservation of the windows is comparable or cheaper than replacing the windows, and that the life cycle cost is better. You know, just so down the road, if a homeowner wanted to do the same thing, we could have that information to give them.
Yeah, we have it already on the website.
Okay.
If you go to the Historic District Commission's website, there's a whole article about the cost savings of saving old windows. What's that?
Okay, well, I just got the other piece of paper I was looking for. I'm sorry, I feel a little inept at this.
Looks like you have garage
Um,
band too.
Antone, to answer your question, she did send a site plan and all the windows that are to be done. And the one thing that she is still searching for is they have to get 3 different estimates for the job.
Mhm.
And she sent us the first one with what she had. And I told her that we'd love to have the final one to include with the application, but that's,
Is there any lead abatement happening or not?
I'm not sure about that, to tell you the truth. It's a good question, though.
it's a toxic question. Leave it alone.
So actually for this application, they're not changing the windows. They're taking the outside
Storms.
storm windows off. So as far as the inside, we really don't have that much of jurisdiction unless they overlap too much and you can see them from the outside. So how do we go about approving this application one way or another? So,
Well, you need a motion?
Yes, you need a, is Charles Raymond here?
Yes.
okay, do you have a motion for us, Charles?
I'll make a motion. We approve the application as presented.
Okay, all in a second, please.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And I will ask Teresa to provide the final window manufacturer so that we have it for the future to do it. Okay. And at the top of the meeting, I need to make a motion to add the Shelton D. Smith House to the agenda as a pre-hearing. That's 20 Church Street. Could I have a motion to accept my addition to the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
I second.
Anyway, so now we can officially introduce Pilar and David Hyman. They are the new owners of 20 Church Street, the Shelton Smith House. I did a few introductions before the meeting, but I don't think you had a chance to meet. I don't think you had a chance to meet Antone, who you can, say hello.
And,
Does not live
Welcome.
in Historic
you.
District, but he is a member of the, where do you work, David? Tell us.
Okay, so I work for the federal government for General Services Administration. The easy way to remember it is we're the nation's landlord. So we own part of the White House. We own all the border stations, federal buildings, courthouses, a lot of weird, strange buildings, lighthouses. So that's what I do. And I'm the Historic Preservation Officer for the Northeast and the Caribbean. Also intersect with fine art and public art. And I started a program that shoots film in historic buildings. So when you're watching TV or watching a film, usually about the FBI or CIA or something, when it looks like a real federal building, it probably is, and it's probably shot in New York. So it's really an exciting program. And that revenue that's produced goes back into historic preservation. So it's a special program under the National Historic Preservation Act that allows different entities to do that. So that's what I do. I've been in Roxbury about 6 years, and I live in a modern house. So.
And this is Charles Raymond, who joined us at last. And he lives probably around the corner. I'm not trying to define people, where they live, but I thought that you should get to know your neighbors too.
It helps orient us.
Yes. And Liz, did I officially introduce you?
No.
Elizabeth Lacey.
Hi,
Hi.
Hi, Liz.
I live in an old house, but not in the historic district.
Okay, so David and Pilar have some plans for their house, and they just sent me the suggestions over, and I am going to try to pick up the pictures so you can describe them, and I think it would be easier. It's very and basically this meeting would be a good time to ask any questions, to get any opinions on what your plans are, and then next month we could just go through them probably very easily, so. Okay, here we go.
Oh, we're up.
We're up again, so preview.
Where would you like us to start?
Let's see. I think somehow I have to get rid of these old ones to get a new one.
There's a magnifying glass too, upper left. You might be able to zoom out. See the top? Do you see the magnifying glass? There's two of them.
I don't really, I'm
On the
sorry.
left, above the photographs.
Okay. But this, here we go. Okay. So do you want to start with your the proposed exterior work? So these are the proposals.
Well, you've probably noticed that we've taken the shutters down. We've sent them out to be restored, and then they will be rehung. The house is going to be painted this spring, as soon as possible. And it'll be painted white with black shutters. But to do so, there's a little work to be done, and we wanted to take the opportunity to correct a few things that we think, once corrected, will enhance the property. The first one is in the left-hand section of the house there. On the second floor, there are 2 windows in front, 2 windows on the side by the fire chimney, and a window in the back, which is not visible from the street. The windows are old crank-out style windows.
Oh, casements. Yeah.
But the one on the right is a mismatch, and it's more modern. And Pilar noticed that the window in the back is a match to the others, and they're charming. So the idea was to, switch those out, or simply bring the one in the back to the front so that they all match,
And get a new one made
and
for the
do
back.
something else in the back. Yeah.
A
get
new,
one.
the same kind of window, but of course it'll be new.
Those windows are interesting. They crank out. There's a removable crank in each window, and they're curious. I've never really seen them
Yeah.
before.
They're really nice. They're cute.
So that was the first ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that would make, personally, my opinion is I think that would make an improvement to the home. Has anybody else got any comments on it?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
Oh,
that sounds
yep.
good.
Oh, thank you. I did want to point out that Wendy and I have had a good email exchange regarding storm windows in general, and she helped set us on a good path. The house is completely clad in pretty crummy storm windows, and we are going to remove them. We are not going to replace them. At least we're not going to replace them in any of the street visible positions. It's a lot of windows, but and we are going to do interior storms.
Nice.
And actually, the suggestions for the interior storms came from the whole commission because we talked about them one
Right.
meeting. So
Right. And we think it'll work very well. Actually, for what you've sent us link-wise, it seems that they may actually function superior to any of these traditional aluminum windows. They cut out the noise, and they hold in the heat much better.
oh, great.
And so on the second floor with the casements, are you going to be able to get an insert for the interior that makes it, you can still
That's a great question. I'm not sure yet.
Well, they have
There are
them.
some interior storm windows
Yeah,
there.
they
Yeah,
already have
they see them.
interior.
Yeah,
You should be able to, yeah.
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 So that's interesting. Someone mentioned that the caulking, not the caulking, but the glazing on their windows lasted better once they took the storm windows off. Somebody here just now.
Right,
Georgette.
Georgette.
Who was that?
Georgette.
Georgette.
Yeah,
Right.
Georgette?
yeah, the putty lasts much longer because underneath a storm window, it's like putting it in an oven.
They cook.
Do you have interior storms?
Nope. But my house isn't insulated either, so what difference does it make?
Don't seem too cold.
Really?
Good thing there's fleece in the world.
Anyway, Wendy, can you resize this, or does everyone see all the pictures properly?
Can't
I
see
can
it,
only see half of it.
right?
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, where do I
can-
have to go?
Just
Don't-
shift it
don't
more
do
to
it,
your
I'm-
right.
Is
Have you,
that
have you
good?
guys thought
Keep the
about
word-
like whether I mean, what's nice about being up here is very often the weather is so pleasant that you can open your windows. So I don't know if you've thought about how the screens might work or how your operability of the windows might work with these inserts. So that's just something to take into
I
account.
know.
We're
I know.
still
We haven't-
kind of thinking
you know-
about this whole, like trying to figure this whole
No,
thing out.
that's a good point, because it's true. If we have inserts and they're invisible and we have to take them out, what will we have as a screen? We haven't figured that one out yet.
It might, we've learned from doing old houses a little bit before. We've done a few. You sometimes need to attack the problem with a number of solutions.
Yeah.
So some windows might be operable with a screen that you put in, and
Or just a slide-in screen.
some maybe you don't open in the summer. So we're sort of approaching the house that way. but always mindful that what you want to see from the street is, the
That's the
the
primary.
intact
That's-
original vision of the house. So anyway, we're still working all we've got a lot of fine tuning to do on those interior storm windows.
Anyway,
Okay,
all,
so-
all of the windows and all the glass will be preserved. And if there are any broken panes, we will be replacing them with wavy glass, old glass.
And apparently the guy's very good. He's coming out to match the wave factor of the glass. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
We lost a lot of windows replacing wavy glass with wavy glass. When they would replace one, another would break. I think when I
Wow.
replaced 8, I had to replace 16, but
They do get brittle with age.
Well, as far as what, the commission is concerned with, it would mostly be the replacement of that window. And I don't think there's going to be a problem with it. So anyway, I'm just moving it along to the next
All right.
Yeah.
conversation.
let's
that's
move
all.
on.
So, and then there's a replacement of the garage doors and lighting. Would you like to?
Can you scroll down?
Sure, to see the picture?
Yeah,
Yep. Can you see the picture now, or is that?
no,
No,
no.
A little,
Oh, I turned it. Which way do I have to go? Down or
up.
up?
down.
Well, I guess it's depending on your perspective.
Like here?
nothing's moving.
Yeah, your arrow was right near it a minute ago.
I'm sorry, I can see it. Nobody else can though,
Oh.
huh?
Well, we can look at these
Yes.
thumbnails here.
Just these little
Yeah.
ones?
All right,
Hmm.
well,
And
we can talk our way through it.
I did the wrong one.
Is there there's no picture of the garage up at all?
Wendy, can you?
No, only the thumbnail on the left side.
Can you
Yeah.
email us the PDF, Wendy?
Can I what?
Email us that PDF because we could all look at it on our computers.
Well, wait a minute. I have another one underneath. Maybe this will be better.
I know.
I sent you a screenshot of what we're
There
looking.
you go.
Oh,
There
that's
you go.
better. There you
That's
go.
better?
That's
All
better.
right,
Yeah, that's much better.
Oh,
Oh.
good. Oh, got smaller.
that's
Oh,
good.
you're
All right.
There you go.
So-
All right.
So the top picture here is our current garage.
I messed up. View options.
It looks good, Wendy.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Well, you did it. So you can see the two garage doors. They're like kind of rotten.
They're in need of changing.
Okay, so shall I show you the new doors you have in mind?
Yes, well,
Yes.
we're hoping. Have to
Nice.
get a price on them, but they're so beautiful.
We
I
love the
them.
doors and we love the gooseneck barn lights.
That's nice. Pretty.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
I think that's on Painter Hill.
Now, are they overhead garage doors?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, they look fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must just pivot.
I don't know how that. Are you sure they're?
No, I saw this. I got out of the car.
Oh,
There
okay.
seems,
They're
They're overhead.
Yeah, I see the
seams
line
are
where
very,
they
if you,
would
there's a
fold.
very fine seam there.
yeah.
Um,
So anyway, the garage itself is not a contributing structure. But we're hoping that, we're going to paint it white and we're going to make it look as appropriate as we can.
well, in our design guidelines, we do suggest whenever anybody has a garage on the property that it become more, look more like an outbuilding or a
Yeah.
barn or something to
Yeah.
that effect to fit in with the overall historic district. And I think this improves the look of the garage itself for the historic district. So,
oh good.
So we
Yeah.
would do a light fixture over each door. And then we would like to put a light fixture to the right of those two ground floor windows on the side. it'll be a little safer for us when we come in at night.
Here.
Yes.
I think it would, I'm just weighing in, you can absolutely paint it any color you want.
Weigh in.
But with the vertical siding, I think it might look good stained another color.
You mean
And
like a
it might
reddish?
make the house look more prominent if the outbuilding was a different color.
You mean
Yeah,
like a reddish, like a barn
like a barn.
color or
Yeah.
something to make it stand
Or
apart?
I was going to ask if you did a paint analysis of the shutters. Have they always been black? Sometimes they're real dark green,
Mm.
And then you can key color coordinate and key the other building.
Ah,
Doesn't have to match, but you could make it complement it.
okay.
But
You
it
know,
does look like an outbuilding, and so personally, I would tend to treat it as one and stain it a color.
Okay.
If it's stained a color already, like this gray,
The gray, but
what do they have to do to it to change the color?
paint over it.
Just paint over it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just for your information, the commission, Historic District Commission, has no say over paint color. So it's your final choice.
Oh, then purple it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Settled.
gorgeous, gorgeous.
Anyway, just thought I'd throw it out there so you're not it's ultimately whatever. So
Okay.
does anybody else have any more comments on the style of the doors or anything like that?
No, doors are gorgeous.
I think they look wonderful. Yeah.
I want them.
We'll see how much they
Yeah,
are.
we'll see.
And they're heavy. They're going to need they're going to need extra heavy springs and that kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be a Megillah. Yeah. We'll
Oh
probably
yeah.
redo the entire contraption.
It's rebuild the building.
Yeah.
There's a company we've used a number of times that they probably have a good website called Designer Doors. And all they do is garage doors that have a nice look like these do. And it just might be fun for you to look at that because sometimes they do expressed vertical boards in them. So it really looks like a barn door.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
These are very handsome too.
Good to know. What was the name of the company?
It's called Designer Doors.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right. And the last item that we applied for, Wendy, could you go to the bottom? of the
Yes, I did.
document?
I'm sorry, I was looking for the written word, but I forgot I switched off.
All right. So this is the view of the Garçonnière. And so currently there is a handicap access that we would like to remove. And there are two doors back there. One of which, yeah, as you can see there. So the one on the left is the center. And then the one on the right is the side door. The side door goes into a foyer and it's pitch black. I mean, it's absolutely pitch black inside. So we would like, and Pilar's studio is going to be back there. So we would like, and the doors are newish. They're not old at all. One is metal clad and the other is, I'm not sure, swollen. At any rate, we would like to replace them with an appropriate door that has glass in it. So we found this one online. We're wondering what you thought.
It matches another door that we have in the house that goes to the porch from the dining room. Forgot
Yeah,
to
it's
take a picture
nice.
of that.
Right.
Would
Should've
this be both doors that you want to change or just the
We
side?
would like
Yeah.
to change both doors.
Because one is my studio and I could use a little extra light there. And then the one on the right is the foyer that David was describing that has no natural light. So it's just kind of, it would be nice.
Mhm. Yeah, it would be interesting. I don't know if you found any old pictures. if these are fairly new doors, I'm curious as to what was on there originally.
Yeah, we've never found a picture that showed that, but of course, we don't have a lot of access to
Yeah.
stuff.
We haven't seen any photos that predate 1980, let's say.
Yeah.
Oh,
of the house.
we should have it in our binder, right? Georgette?
No, we don't.
Aren't there photographs of every house in the district from 19?
Yeah, but I don't think you can see the side door.
I was going to say, can you see all sides?
Oh, I see.
You could see the front, the door facing the road, but I don't think you can see the side door. I do want to bring this up in our design criteria, which is online. We talk about doors. And here's what we say. Many of the entrance doors in the historic district are especially distinctive. The HDC recommends raised panel doors for primary entrances. Batten doors or doors with panels below and true divided lights above are acceptable for secondary entrances. So I know you want to get light into your studio, but the appropriate door for that would have lights above, not full windows, full, glass like that. Unless you made that your storm door and you had your panel door as a regular door. Like on my house, my storm door has glass like this, but the primary door behind it is a panel door.
So I could open
So-
it in the.
But this hall
I
door
didn't
is,
quite follow your explanation. Is there glass allowed as a secondary door or not?
evidently.
But you were saying this door here, this green door is not appropriate,
No,
but is,
if it was a storm door, it would be, but not a primary door.
oh, I see.
So what's odd about side door number 2 is that it swings out,
That's what I was.
which is
pointing out,
really
too.
weird. So it tells me it's like somebody added that. It
Well, I think
almost,
that
I
may-
could imagine it's been recycled from some other spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that may have been part of the handicap access renovation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Makes sense. I mean, I'd be less concerned about that door because it's unclear as to whether it was even originally there. But the one that faces the road is pretty important in terms of the history of the whole facade. So that's why I was curious if there were any old pictures. It seems unlikely that that door would have had so much glass in it. So I think that's something to consider.
But is this door, does this classify as a primary door? Not really.
Not for us, no.
No, I mean, it's not facing the main road.
Yes, it is facing the main road.
The
No.
green door that you're
No, no, no.
showing here,
Door number 1 does face the road. Door number
one on-
2 does not.
the number 2, but that's what I was referring to. So if you could compromise, door number 2 is where you really need the light.
Mhm.
You choose door number
is where
2?
you want to put the light.
Yeah, that's towards the studio, correct?
I'm good with that. I'm voting.
Who's coming out of door number 2?
I choose door number 2.
And
Good.
Don't like
and
it.
the
gonna
door
talk about
swings
ramp
out.
though.
I cannot
When you're ready.
envision having 2 doors there. You'd have to recess the door. You'd have to reframe the door to get 2 doors in there, inner door and a storm door.
That looks like a storm door.
Yeah, I think that would be redundant, and given it's not the primary entrance, I wouldn't have a problem with leaving that door, using the one that you're offering.
Okay.
I think we can work with that.
Do you think on the door number 1,
Actually, folks, you're looking at the door. That's door number
1,
1
that's number 1.
right here.
Right.
So that door is a metal door currently.
Oh,
I'd like to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Is there any way I could put a a wood door that had some glass in it.
Sure.
I think you were saying that somehow there was a way?
Even at the top?
The top lights,
Just the top lights, yeah.
put a
Well, that
couple of
would help.
bullseyes in there.
What's that?
Put a couple of bullseye glass in there. Might look nice.
That would help.
Has, has anybody seen the WPA photos of this house? Or do
No.
they know if they exist?
Um,
The architect photos? Nobody knows about them? Okay.
No.
I looked for them years ago and I never found any, but through the WPA, but I wasn't very good at research way back then either.
All right, I'll see it. I'll see if I can find that picture, but I tend to agree that the door facing the road should probably be more solid.
Well, even a little bit would help.
Right.
I mean, the room isn't dark or anything, but
The other room is
yeah, the other room
completely,
is, the other room,
Right.
it could be used as a dark room.
yeah. So,
That's what we've got.
Okay.
So when the ramp comes off, do you need to put a step in there, or is it?
Well, we're not, yeah,
I don't
we're
know
not
what's-
really
I
sure
don't-
what's under there.
it might be there still.
Okay, it might be, yeah.
It is still there because when we gave them permission to put the ramp up,
Okay,
we gave them permission based on the fact that it could be removed with no damage to the house.
Oh,
Good,
good.
that's excellent.
Good.
So I think that will look so beautiful when that's down.
With, yeah.
Mhm.
What else? We are going ahead with painting the house, and that was interesting, like an interesting process, because we found out about all the different methods that people can employ.
So, yeah, we had various painters and come through, and they all had different schemes. One guy came through and he wanted to sandblast the building.
Mm.
We didn't hire him. That was a non-starter, but he actually thought that was a great idea. And then we had someone that came through with a very high quote who was going to sand everything with a hand sander, palm sanding and all that. Currently, we have somebody that's going to be stripping with chemical that is not in need of neutralizing. And he's thoroughly licensed by the state and all of that. And he seems very good. He's also been doing the interior of the house. He's a good painter.
Yeah, and that's through Benjamin Moore.
Right.
So they've taken a big stake in this for some reason, I guess, because it's expensive. But and we're going ahead, we got all these estimates so that we can apply for some money from the state for this, because it's a chunk.
Have you been able to get a hold of the woman at the?
She
Today.
did. She reached out to
Today.
us today, actually.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's
Yeah.
underway.
So we're going to
What
set
is
up
her name? Who is in charge of it now?
Aaron Fink.
Okay, that's who I gave you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I just wanted
So-
to make sure I was handing out the right names. So,
We're trying to set up a meeting for next week.
good. I hope that works out.
Thank you. Yes, we do too.
Yeah. So that's about the news.
We're very happy to be here.
I know, we're delighted.
We are Northeasterners. We're from the New York, New Jersey area. I don't think between us we've ever lived in a house that's more recent than 1920. I got moved to Florida for about 6-7 years. Couldn't wait to come back. And
How did you guys find Roxbury?
have you heard about all those people during the pandemic who
Oh, yeah.
on Zillow?
Noticed.
Well, we had planned to come back. We were going to come back to the Northeast anyway.
Yeah.
The pandemic accelerated it. And we have children up here and all of that. And we had been looking in the Hudson area, Catskill, and we figured that's where our trajectory would lead us. Except we have a son who lives in the city, and he said to me one day in Florida, he said, "Dad, have you checked out Litchfield County?" And I don't know why, maybe it was the Hudson River, but I had never really thought about it much. And I said, "No, why?" And he said, "It's about as beautiful as anything in England." He says, "It's spectacular." And that got us going. And when this house came up on the market, we did a lot of research into Roxbury, and we fell in love with the whole scene.
And we have, our daughter's in Boston, and we have a son in New York, and another son moving to New York soon. So we figured it was right in the middle.
Yeah.
But, yep.
Great, great. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And it's turned out to be as good as it looked on Zillow.
Yeah.
Especially with those luminaries on New Year's Eve, right?
Well, that was great. That was really
that
great.
was, we were not, we didn't see them putting them down. So we were out running errands or something, and we turned onto Church Street and, saw them and just went, "What? Where have we moved?"
We had a very complicated move. Complicated being a euphemism for rough. And so when we were pretty exhausted when we turned the corner and saw those luminaries, and it was a great scene. It was really nice.
Yeah.
Great. Well, welcome. Well, as far as the pre-application, I would say maybe try to find one more solution for that door that faces the street, because that seems to be a sticking point. So.
Oh, I had a question regarding that.
yeah.
Could I do a double door
Mhm.
there?
A
like
Dutch,
a-
like a Dutch
no,
door?
No, not a Dutch door, a glass panel door in the front, like a storm door.
Yeah, and that's what
And-
Georgette suggested.
Oh,
That
okay.
might be a good way of
Right,
getting what you want, but
But then I
still.
could open the
maintaining
inner door.
right.
Ah,
At least in the better months.
Mhm.
And actually, I have one of the doors where the glass panels comes out and you can put a screen in during the summer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's such a great idea.
Yep.
Oh, that's it.
That works.
That works. That will do
But
it.
when it comes to, since that's a door that's on the outside, how do you, what kind of style would it have to be?
It can be just a glass panel because
What
it's just a
happened?
storm.
I see.
It's just a layer that you look through and see the
Okay.
panel door.
The divided lights is actually a good solution also.
Oh,
Right.
then they would match.
Yes.
The two of them would match then. That's
Well,
great.
yeah.
That's
Well,
a-
look at some of the screen doors in the historic district. That might help you out a little bit.
Sorry, say that again?
I said, look at some of the other screen doors or out, the storm doors in the historic district.
We'll drive around.
Yeah, or
Right,
take a walk.
And isn't that what you have with divided lights in your storm door?
That's what I have. Yes, I have
Yeah.
divided lights in my storm door that I can take out and put in a screen.
Right, and then there's just a panel underneath it, right?
Right,
So
right.
that would be a really
Like
good
a
one to
kick
look at.
plate, bigger than a kick plate, actually. It's like
Yeah,
a
it's like that green one. The green door.
Yeah, the exception is, I think yours is 3 lights across rather than just 2, isn't it?
Yes, mine has smaller panes across.
Which looks in scale with your house.
Is it wood?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where you got that or?
Oh, I ordered it from Washington Supply.
Okay.
Bingo.
There you go.
All right.
Right.
Where else do you go for a storm door? I don't know. Anyway, okay, well, we're going to move on to some of the other things on our agenda. You're welcome to stay, or you
I'll
can
stay for a little while.
you can go home.
I am home.
I know, that's what I mean. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing anyway. So, okay, next thing on the agenda is the Shippo grant for the walking tour and coloring books. Would you please tell us all about it, Georgette? It's very exciting.
Okay. We got a grant for $20,000
Wow.
and it's not a matching grant. It's all our money. And it's to reprint the walking tour book, the coloring book, hire a researcher to delve deeper into the people who lived in these houses, like who was Ella Thomas? And there's mentions of a Scandinavian cheesemaker. So to delve deeper into the people who actually resided in these houses. And we have a budget for that. And so now that we have all this together, I think we have to conclude that we really can't do the walking tour in June. It's just not possible.
No.
So what I'm suggesting is that we're going to get a list from the state office of certified researchers. We're budgeted a researcher $75 an hour for 100 hours. And if we hire one right away, or as soon as possible, she can do the research and maybe find out all this information so that we don't have to reprint the book and then reprint it again if it's corrected. Because we have time now, since we're not going to do the walking tour. And that way, whatever book we do will be totally up to date. There won't be, one that's superseded by another.
I think it's fabulous. I think that the added depth to the book, just having a social history of the people who were there, just adds on to the history of Roxbury. It makes it even more in depth. It gives it more grit. So I think it's very exciting that we get 100 hours of research. Is that what it was?
100 hours.
Of research. Yahoo.
The only thing is, I think that we could print the coloring book, because that's just going to be done by Staples. But Jack, you have to make 2 corrections before we can do that.
Okay, yeah,
Okay?
yeah, it looks like possible.
Okay. We'll talk about that.
Yep.
And the other thing I was thinking, Jack, is if she does do this research, instead of extending the pages in the book, why don't we just edit each of the paragraphs that relate to the houses? Because a lot of that information is just, just filling up the pages. You can do that on your little machine, right?
Yeah, it's, the software is antiquated, so I'm going back a few generations to an old computer that still opens the file. So I might end up just redoing the whole book from scratch anyway,
Ouch.
because I'm not that busy.
Maybe we could have a design fee thrown in there somehow. So, but
Yeah,
anyway,
but we can work it out at any rate.
okay. I think it's great.
Can I ask, I haven't seen, so we've had a coloring book. And how many pages are in the coloring book? How many houses?
The coloring book was actually done by one of our own, and it was Roxbury on the Move. And it just showed houses in Roxbury that were either moved here or moved out of here. And it was just to start an interest in the young people of Roxbury to appreciate what we have in the historic district, as is the walking tour to bring enlightenment to some of our residents who want to turn it into a commercial district. It's kind of, when we were in the planning and development meetings, some of the members of the planning and development didn't even know there was a historic district. And we're trying to change that in both young and old alike. So that is the germ of both of these projects.
So does the coloring book have a little text about the history of the house?
Yes, very simple though, right?
Oh,
Charles?
it isn't even, it just goes through, like when the Phineas Smith house office was moved, there's a picture of a vehicle which is of the same time frame as the house being moved. And then there's another picture of an ox cart moving another, and it's really very simple. And it says where it was and where it's going.
Okay.
And what's charming about it and good for the kids is that it all mentions houses like within short walking distance of the school. So in theory, you could have like a day out with the kids and show them the houses that have been moved and where they've been moved to. So, and the other thing is that they would bring it home to their parents, who might also benefit from knowing that there's a historic district. So.
And we have been to Boothry School and asked if that would be an appropriate lesson plan for, and they were like, oh my gosh, 4th grade would love it. They do early American history and whatever. And it's like, oh, great, so they were willing to work with it. And I think we've handed it out before. And, it's just, it's a start, so little town. But I think it's all, I'm really thrilled about the grant proposal. And I heard from Barbara congratulating us today. So I thought that was nice. Okay, any other information on that or discussion?
No, just as soon as we get some names of researchers, we can
Right.
start interviewing them.
Okay. So we're moving on to the O'Brien Barns. So the 2 barns on top of Painter Hill and Painter Ridge Road were taken down in order for the foundations to be shored up, because in the bank barn especially, it was more of a refuge problem, a refuge pile for old stones. And so it was crumbling underneath the ground and there wasn't a solid foundation there. So the owner, Dr. Hazelton, got a permit to take both barns down and put them both back up again in the same place, exactly the same way. In between time, he didn't apply for another permit and he got his feelings hurt and he decided he was going to move out of town and never put the barns back up again. That has changed slightly after some discussion, and he actually is buying another house in Roxbury on Good Hill Road, 82, 84, 86, or 84, 86, 88. And it's a huge house. And he's decided that he's going to put one of the barns back up again. And the barn he chose was the oldest barn, but instead of making it a bank barn, he wanted to put it alongside his driveway. And I got a call from Ed Cady and said, isn't this good news? They're putting a barn back up. I said, well, it doesn't make any sense where they're putting it up, because a bank barn that was built into the side of a bank, when you put it out in the open, there's no wall there and the proportions are all wrong, because the proportions start from where the ground hit the barn to the top of it. And if they had to add that part that was underground, it was way too tall for the proportions of a barn. So he said, well, why don't you talk to him, Wendy? And I said, well, I'd love to. Would you give me his number? So anyway, we had a conversation and he said, well, I thought you would be pleased to know that we're putting the barn back up again. I said, well, I really have I really would like to see both put back up again. And he said, well, I have no use for the other barn at this point. And I said, well, if you're going to put a barn, one of the barns back up, you should be putting the old bank barn up, but you should be putting it back where it belongs because it fits the countryside there and it fits the style of barn there. And he said, well, I could think about doing that. So I heard from Ed Katie again, and he was all excited, thrilled to death. And he was talking to me while he was driving. And I was like, he had said something like, call me, I got great news. So I went to call him and he was driving. I didn't hear half of it. So I called him back 5 minutes later and I said, did I hear you say that you're going to put both barns back up again? But it's not the case. But Dr. Hazelton has decided that he's going to put the bank barn back up in the place that I suggested, back where it belongs. And so we've got one barn up, and that's 50% of the solution. And the other barn is not being destroyed. It's all covered and ready to go up again, but we need a little more persuasion. So we'll see.
So
Do
are
you
they,
know, Wendy, is he going to sell the property with the barn?
I don't believe he is, because his children are going to take it over, his grandchildren. He has two girls with families grown up, and they're going to take the house that goes down Painter Hill and that house. And they're both going to get a house out of it. And he has another big, huge house. This property is, if you're going past Maple Banks and you're going up the hill, there are two stone pillars on the left side of the road, and that's the entrance to the property. And you would have to go online to see the scale of the property. It's gigantic. So he's now has a new place.
Well, I think that's great progress. So
Well,
congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And
It's
then we
kind
can
of
work on
like,
getting the second barn up next.
I know it's kind of like half empty, half full, but it is 50% there. And
Did he resolve the pond issue?
yeah, he paid the $1,000 fine.
Okay.
So anyway, it's not over yet, because they have to now go and apply for all new permits, because the work that they have permits for doesn't apply anymore, because they didn't follow them. So I don't know if John Blaney in the building department will be able to apply any pressure to the second barn or not. But I have had that conversation with him, so we'll see what happens. I'm not sure. So because he was just as surprised as we were that the barns didn't go back up again. So he was like, I gave the permit because Brian Neff was on the project. He approved it. And I know that you trust Brian's opinion. So Brian was surprised. We all were surprised. So, but that's the update on that. So anyway, any questions on that? If anybody wants to call and talk to him and try to convince them to get the next one up, you're welcome to. So just a little follow-up, that's all. So anyway, okay. So if there are no questions, we'll go on to the zoning commission reply to HDC letter.
We haven't gotten it yet. So
Okay, I'll follow up on that. And then the Reverend Swift house barn. Has anybody got any information on that? Because I don't.
So all it is that the stop order is still enforced. Is that it? The stop work order?
I think so, yes.
so I missed last time. What happened? They decided to go ahead with the dormer and the town stopped them?
Yeah.
Yes. I think it was 25 cubic feet too much.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
What?
I thought it was really unfortunate that they didn't let them go ahead with that.
I didn't understand it either.
It's
So.
a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I argued for it on the meeting, but I guess the state was getting very stringent upon expanding any kind of cubic footprint when there was a variance needed. And so you had to do it within the cubic foot footprint, the cubic foot footprint. So, I mean, they were arguing we could take down the chimney or take down the garbage can shed so that we had enough room. I don't know. They had to prove a hardship. And the hardship meant not that you were too old to walk the stairs to get up to
No.
the attic, but something to the effect of, I thought
The
the
land.
position of the barn was a hardship. It's right on the road, so you have no place to get your cars off the road, but it didn't work, so.
It is unfortunate, though, that you can see the shed dormer now from the road.
I personally feel that a barn is a barn, and whatever you can use it for to keep it up is advantageous, so.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think when they're painted, they would even stick out all that much, but.
I mean, the alternative was they were gonna put an addition. Do you remember they wanted to make a new addition?
Yes, the addition to the house.
So, so their response was to renovate the barn and make that into workspace. And now they're, it's getting torpedoed, right?
Yeah, they would have torn down the barn, added the extension onto the house to get the square footage.
I mean, what are we trying to prove here?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand it completely, so. Anyway, that's the answer on that one. And any other business? I do believe.
Can I ask Wendy, did it matter at all that our group weighs in on stuff like that? Does it have any influence?
Usually in the past it has. I have gone to Zoning Board of Appeals meetings and argued for barns to be kept up that were on the roadside, that were going to be turned into, living quarters, and we put a cement wall inside, or whenever it was a historic house or barn, they usually kind of went along with it. But for some reason, there are people whose opinions are very wise and educated on this commission, and I respect what they had to say, and they were very much following the letter of the law. Something.
Yeah, I listened to the recording right earlier, and there is a very, we've got to enforce the regulations, in a very narrow way.
Yeah, it was.
It might not hurt to send a letter to Zoning Board of Appeals in support.
Well, I was there at the meeting lending support, saying,
Wasn't it going to go to Zoning Board of Appeals in the future?
Oh, I don't know if it's going back again. I was at the first one.
He was postponing it for a month.
They did postpone it for a month?
Well, they were talking about it, and I think there might be time. I think it's still like floating I could be wrong,
But you might say in that letter that you now talk to the commission itself. It wasn't just your opinion as it was before.
No, it was the HDC opinion.
You were speaking on behalf of them without talking to us?
Well, we did talk about it.
I'm wounded.
You just don't remember.
Just remember, you make the cookies. That's all I care about.
Okay.
Oh,
I will give a call to John Blaney and see where it stands, because I know he's been keeping me informed of it, but we'll see. And then there's any other business. And I do believe we have some interesting proceedings in the neighborhood. There is
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
The dumpster.
a dumpster.
And there was
I'm
a
very-
guy on the
talking
roof.
about- We're talking about the Burwell Tavern, which
Oh.
is on the right side of the road at the end of 67 where it tees. And the roof has been failing for
Years.
years.
10
And
years,
we've been
easily 10 years.
trying to encourage her and put tarps on it and introduced her to grants. And I believe somebody was on the roof today.
Yes,
And
saw that.
I think she sold the Studebaker. I believe that's what is behind all this.
Oh.
Notice the little red truck is gone.
Oh, she said that's what she wanted to do, just to do
I
the,
think that's what motivated it. Thank heavens.
I'm
Yes.
thrilled.
That's good. Right before 6 to 10 inches tomorrow.
Yeah. The roofer's gonna have to work real fast.
Yeah.
I hope the barn is included in the re-roofing.
Yeah, I don't know
I
about
don't
that.
know.
Don't count
I
it.
mean,
They-
now there's a barn that we need to save, so.
It was interesting. They stripped off the roof and we all knew there were 2 layers of asphalt, but underneath there's actually a layer of wood shingles.
Oh, yeah. Very
Really?
common, very
3
common.
layers of
Right
roofing.
on top?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. That's the way you do it.
Yankee
Did you
way.
notice who's doing the job, Charles?
I don't know.
There was one guy on ladder.
Yeah,
one man.
One guy picking the shingles up as they fell off. Yeah,
Oh, there was a guy on the ground? I didn't see
Yeah.
him.
yeah.
Okay. Whatever. I don't
All
care.
positive, so.
Definitely.
Uh,
progress.
Any other acknowledgement, any observations around town that we should be aware of?
Well, did you see Martha Baldwin's house was in the Litchfield magazine?
Yes.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that nice?
The
Yeah.
Booth House, was that it?
Booth? Oh,
On
did,
Welton Road. Yeah.
oh, it's like Weldon?
Welton. Mhm.
Yes, but I think it's called the Booth House
Is
originally.
that the Booth house? Oh, I never realized that. This? Wait. That's the Booth house. I never realized that. Oh, I wish this one? Oh, of course. This one?
I can't see.
Can't see it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
I didn't realize that's where she lived. Oh my gosh. She lived in my building in New York. Okay. So, but it looks nice, I thought.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, I think I might be wrong about that.
That it's not the Booth house? I don't think it is
The
either.
Welton House.
Right, then she lived on Weldon or something. I know the Booth house, I think. It is kind of pretty too, but I don't think it's
Oh, well, I'm sorry, I got the name.
It's the only house on Welton that's in the survey book, right?
Right, and it's called the Welton House, so
okay.
makes sense.
I think okay, is the Booth house in here too?
I don't know, I'll have to go
I
look
think-
for it. I don't know where I got that from.
The
No,
only
she
house-
lived on Weldon, I think.
Yeah, it's the only house on Welton, so
Right.
I just want to know that the ceilings were low so that otherwise I wished I had bought it. Where is it? Weldon. Sorry, everyone.
Okay, well, it was nice meeting the two of you.
yes.
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 Welcome to the
Thank you.
neighborhood.
Welcome
Nice
aboard.
Thank you.
And I need a motion to finish the meeting, to adjourn.
So moved.
I moved. Answer the
Somebody
phone.
gotta go get their phone call. And could I have a second?
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Bye.
Aye.
Good night, all.
Good night,
night.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to see you all.
Sit in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Leave meeting.